Good morning. My name is Lee Matthew Jackson, and you are joining me live as we understand idea validation. I want to share with you why it is really important to validate an idea, and I'm going to share with you a few tips on how to do so. Let's jump into a time machine. Let's say it's the TARDIS, and we'll go back about 6 or 7 years ago. I came up with the best idea ever. In fact, I'm pretty positive it was the best idea because I knew I could create a social media platform that would do things that the leading providers could not provide and did not provide for another 5 years after we built what we built. We designed a social media platform that would hone in on Twitter and allow you to do all sorts of things like bulk follow, bulk unfollow, but also things like automated content from RSS feeds and XML feeds and all sorts of real complex stuff. I was so proud. We were so happy. And I think we took 6 to 7 months to build this thing, and we spent a lot of money to get it ready. That's including development, that's including the branding, everything. We were bringing something to market, and we wanted that to be the finished, the final product. It would be shiny, it would be beautiful, and it was going to make me extremely rich. Well, that was part of it. I really wanted to see people using this amazing software product yeah, I wanted to be rich, let's face it. So, I was dead excited. And finally, we brought it to market and we sold, my word, nothing, zilch. Because I had no marketing strategy, I had not validated the idea. There was absolutely no appetite for the product that I had created. I had created something that I thought people wanted based on needs that I had, and that in itself is valid. I had needs, and I had created a system that met those needs. The problem is the needs I had weren't necessarily reflected in everybody else's day-to-day life. And frankly, nobody was interested. They could access social media automation tools for much cheaper than I was able to offer it at, and they didn't really miss the features that I'd created that the others didn't have. So what was the compelling reason to use my product? Had I really found a problem that was that valuable that people were willing to switch from these huge corporations and use me, a no name who just developed some social media automation software? I had failed to validate the idea. I had failed to see whether the problem that I thought I was solving for people was expensive enough for people to jump ship and to spend money with me. It's really important that we do validate our ideas. As business people, we get really excited. We've got a new product, a new service, an event, something that we want to do. And we are convinced that people will jump on it, that people will spend with us, that we are going to be able to transform lives with this service, with this product, with whatever it is. And we throw ourselves into that saying, right, let's get this off the ground. And we start to build and we start to build and we start to spend money. And then eventually when it comes to launch, we have no clue how to market it. We don't know how to push it. Or even if we do have some sort of clue how to market it, then there's just no appetite and it sucks. And sometimes people are lucky. They do all that and it's a success. But many times, sadly, including in my own experience, it's not a success. It's actually a complete failure. And that was an utter, utter failure. Thankfully, years later, I've been able to take that code base, we've reworked it, we've added other social platforms, and we now do well with that product with a few corporate clients that use that for specific social media automation that they want to do. So we found an enterprise niche for that product, and the product has finally paid for itself 5, 6, 7, 8 years later. But that's the silver lining, and it's certainly not something I expected to happen because I did actually throw it in the proverbial bin for a while. So let's look then at how to validate an idea. We've already worked out it's important that we do validate an idea because we don't want to waste a whole load of money, we don't want to waste a whole load of time, and we don't want to bring something to market, a product or a service that nobody wants, because that sucks. So to validate an idea, we've got a few options here. The first one is the most obvious, is to ask people. Ask your potential clients, ask your friends, ask your family, and then here's a warning. People are too nice. And they will listen to your idea and say, oh, that sounds lovely. So maybe caveat that, ask for real honest opinions. Tell them that you are going to sell them this product or service when it's built, so you want to know if they're going to buy it or not, because that puts a little bit of pressure. That reminds them that they may have to part with some money, and they'll understand, okay, all right, let's have a think. Let's have a logical think through this. Another warning with family and friends is sometimes your family and friends are just flipping awful and they don't encourage you. So just be careful around the family and friends aspect. Especially talk to potential clients, talk to family friends with that warning. Canvas people online through surveys, etc., and find out, what are the problems. Do the problems that you have decided to fix resonate really well with people? Is there an appetite for a solution to the problem that you believe you have? So that's number one. It's not the most recommended way, but that's just a way of starting to put feelers out there. Are people interested in this product or service that solves this problem or helps people achieve this aspiration? Next thing you could do is build an MVP. So this does mean you're going to have to spend some money to build it, but an MVP is your minimum viable product. And that is probably what I should have done. I had no audience to canvas. I didn't have a load of people to ask to get information from to see whether or not my idea was a good idea. So I should have built the minimum viable product and then taken that to market. So just added the first few features that I felt were right, put them out and see if anyone would buy into them. Then build on top of that and expand it and make it better based on the feedback I was getting from the people that were purchasing. I could have saved myself months and thousands of pounds if I'd have simply brought an MVP to market within a month or two to see whether or not there was an appetite. And I would have probably have seen there was no appetite and I could have pulled back. The other thing, though, is I could have used some of the money I wasted on development on marketing. So I could have marketed the MVP and perhaps found a niche or perhaps found a market. So an MVP, if you are struggling with an audience, you don't know who to talk to, etc., then perhaps an MVP might be there with some sort of invested budget. Another option would be to do a landing page, and especially if you have no audience, you can use something like Facebook ads, and Google ads to get people to a landing page. You can tell them that there is this product that's coming and it solves this problem, and perhaps do some screenshots of what it's going to look like. You don't have to say it's not built yet. You can just say, hey, we're building this, because you're building it in your mind. Maybe you're even working on the MVP, and see whether or not you can get people to jump on a waiting list. Because if people are willing to part with their email to get on a waiting list, then they're at least interested in this product. So perhaps you are creating something that is of value. The next one to take that further on a landing page is you could actually take payment. Maybe you could sell a lifetime license or a low fee, a low monthly or a low yearly fee that will trigger when the product is live. And there is nothing more validating than people parting with their money. That's something I learned a long time ago. This was a course I did at Sumo, and I think it was your first 1,000, which I jumped on that course. I'd run a business for years and wanted to start from scratch again, just to teach myself the basics of business, because I'd played at business for so many years, and that was by Noah Kagan. And he was saying that, seeing if people will part with their money based on an idea is the best sort of validation, because that means you have something of value. People are willing to spend the money, and that means you can bring that product to market. Hopefully other people will be willing to spend money. People are kind, remember, I said that earlier on, and they'll say that's a great idea because they don't want to hurt your feelings. People would be way more honest if you're asking for money. So I would put a little caveat in there that if you are going to take money from people, that's something that is not built. Two things. Number one, put that money in an account. Don't touch it. Number two, you need to make sure you know how to build this thing. Don't take people's money and have no clue how you're going to build it. So please be honest. And then finally, I've never done this, but I've heard a lot of people talk about it. Launch a Kickstarter. That'll generate you some income. That'll validate whether or not the idea is something that people want. It'll give you the budget to build it and the budget to continue to market it. So I've often considered a Kickstarter. It looks pretty cool. So there are a few ways that you could validate your idea. Like we said, it's important to validate because you don't want to waste a whole lot of money and then go to market without anyone wanting to spend any money with you, because that sucks. By validating, you're going to take yourself through a process of ensuring that people like the idea, that people may be even willing to pay for the idea, and you're also already developing your marketing strategy. You're already growing your audience through the validation process, rather than doing what I did, which was backwards, which was invest the thousands in the product and then have zero funds for marketing with zero audience, and nobody was interested in my idea. Thanks, folks, for listening to me ramble for 10 minutes. We have a So True. Thank you. And I'm going to sign out because I have a lot of work to do. I've got some ideas to go validate. Take care, folks. If you've got this far and you're on the replay, type in replay. If you have ever created anything and it didn't work, let us know, just so that I know I'm not alone. If you've created something and it did work, let us know as well, and let's have a link. All right, folks. Peace. Take care.